Assalamu alaikum, inshallah you're well guys. So application season has already started with a number of employers opening up their 2023 graduate and apprenticeship programs for applications and many employers to follow suit in the next couple of weeks. And you guys know that my views on this are quite clear, that you should be applying anywhere and everywhere. And inshallah in today's video, I just want to give some tips and advice to help you prepare for application season. Firstly, I recommend setting up a professional email address for all of your applications because this will ensure that all of your updates are in one convenient location so you don't miss an update. And what can happen sometimes is that an email from an employer can go straight into your junk mail. Now, because you've only got one dedicated email address for all of your applications, that won't get mixed up with the normal spam or rubbish that you receive in your usual email address, so you won't end up accidentally deleting an important update. Secondly, you need to stay on top of your applications because when you've applied to dozens of organizations, it can be very easy to forget where you've already applied to. And sometimes employers aren't great at keeping you up to date. It's entirely up to you how you stay up to date with your applications, but the easiest way that I'd recommend is by listing your applications in an Excel sheet. So right now, as you're waiting for organizations to start their recruitment process, I'd recommend working on your Excel workbook. Start making a list of all the organizations that you want to apply to. Now, you might say I can't do that yet because applications aren't open. I'm not sure which employers I should be applying to, but stop being lazy, guys. You can visit job boards and it's very likely that they'll have old job ads open for 2022 vacancies. So by visiting these job boards, you can identify which employers recruit for a graduate or an apprenticeship program and then start working on your list. And I've also previously posted on where to find accounting and finance jobs online. Inshallah, do check that video out because there's some useful links in the description of that video. So once your list is ready, I'd recommend checking every 3 to 4 days on the employer's website to see if they've uploaded their grad or apprenticeship vacancies. So you can add the link to the vacancies page to your tracker and then inshallah check every 3 to 4 days by clicking on the link in your Excel workbook. This is super important because I constantly talk about how some employers who only have a few vacancies can receive thousands of applications. So it's very important that you apply early. Unfortunately, what happens is that lots of people end up applying late. And as far as I'm aware, there's no organization out there that will guarantee that you will go through the entire application process. So if you pass the application stage and were successful at a first round interview, you may be waiting for an assessment center date. But if an organization has filled those vacancies, tough. They'll just reject your application. It doesn't matter that you are waiting for a date because they've already filled the roles. Now, linked to this, it's very easy for an employer to forget about your application. And what can happen sometimes is that you may apply, then hear nothing for a few months, but then receive a rejection email out of the blue. It's important that you don't chase an employer to the extent that you start annoying them. But equally, guys, it's unfair on you to be expected to wait a couple of months before you hear back from an employer. So on your tracker, I'd recommend adding some contact details where possible, so that you can chase for an update if it's been a while since you last heard from the employer. Normally, it's very difficult to pinpoint the exact person that you should be talking to for an update on your application, but normally what happens is employers keep you up to date via emails, and within those emails, there's normally a shared service HR inbox that you can email for an update. And as you progress through the application process, say you go on to a first round interview, add the names of the people who interviewed you to your tracker because then you may have a contact that you can chase directly. As I mentioned, guys, you do want to be careful because you don't want to chase to the extent that people start thinking negatively of you. But equally, if it's been 2 weeks since your last update and HR haven't got in touch with you, absolutely fine to chase. So if it was me and say I had a first round interview with a manager, but it's been 2 weeks and I haven't heard back from HR, even if that person wasn't working in HR, I'd probably connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message, say, hey, so-and-so, thanks for your time during the interview. Hope you remember me. I had a great experience, but I haven't heard back from HR. Do you mind just chasing an update? Because I would really appreciate some feedback. Something along those lines where you're being pleasant and nice, but asking for an update at the same time. I remember that one of my first ever interviews at the age of 16 was with a concession stand at House of Fraser. And the hiring manager at the time, my interviewer, had said, we'll come back to you by a certain week. And it came to the Monday of that week and I was chasing central HR up straight away. Oh, you promised me an update, but I haven't heard anything to date. Can you please give me one? There was nothing rude in my email, but I had a firm tone and central HR came back to me essentially saying, look, it's the beginning of the week. Yes, we said we'd come back to you this week, but give us till Friday to give you an update. Essentially telling me to calm down. I was rejected for that role anyway. I hadn't done too well in the interview process, but it's an example of where, looking back on that incident, I definitely feel I was a bit too much when chasing for an update. Also, make sure that you have a LinkedIn profile and that you're connecting with people that you meet or interact with throughout the application process, because you never know where your career may end up and who you may end up working with. It should help you grow your personal brand, and inshallah, it's a nice gesture to private message someone on LinkedIn, thanking them for their time throughout the interview process, regardless of whether you're successful or not. A message like that can only make them think better of you. Often what can happen is that a lot of people feel the need to thank someone publicly and announce their success to the world. Absolutely fine if you agree with that. I'm not a fan of that approach. I think that personally messaging someone and having that personal touch is much more powerful. Inshallah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Please do check out my playlist on the application process, because there's plenty of content out there to help guide you through each stage of the application process. But as always, guys, if you have any questions or queries, please feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram.